So in the last part of this webinar, I will talk a little bit about the Matter commissioning process, what it is, when it's happening, and what do you need to do that. And going through this process, we'll also define a few terms. So you see some acronyms that are used heavily in this process, the DCL, PA, PI. So I will go through that and explain the link between these different names. Then I will have a quick overview in the Matter journey. What do you need at which time of which step of your Matter journey? A brief overview in the pricing model to get your certificate for your devices. And I will conclude that with a few explanation what we do at Kudelski IoT and how we can help you during this process. First, the commissioning process is really when the user is buying a smart home device. He brings it home and he wants to make it join the home network. So at this stage, on the stage 4 in here, the device needs to show some certificates to prove its authenticity and conformity to the commissioner, which is the mobile app in this case, and so that he can join the network, the Matter network, and then he can communicate with other compliant devices. So the question is, how do you prove your authenticity and how do you prove the conformity? The first one, the authenticity, is by having device attestation certificates. So each device that is in part in the Matter ecosystem needs to have a unique device attestation certificate that is inside the device. And to do that, you need first to have a product attestation authority. So at Kudelski IoT, for example, we are a product attestation authority approved by CSA, and we are in the DCL. So you can check on the DCL under the PA, and you will find that we have our attestation authority there, that we are an authorized authority to deliver the certificates. Then when we have the product attestation authority in place, then we need to issue a product attestation intermediate, which is the issuing CA for the product. At this stage, you have a vendor ID. You may also have a product ID. So it's really focused on the vendor, Matter vendor. So it's a PAI for the Matter vendor for you. And you can have one or several PAI depending your strategy. And this PAI can then generate the device attestation certificates that will be embedded in the device. So this is the chain of trust to prove the authenticity of a device in the Matter ecosystem. The next step is to prove the conformity. So Martin explained how do you do through the certification of your device. So going back a little bit on that, when you have a device, you go to a test lab. The test lab will do the testing of your device to see if it's conform to the specification. Then they will do a report to CSA. CSA will get it, do the processing of this report. And if the device is successfully attested against Matter protocol, then they will deliver the certification declaration, the CD. So this is to prove the conformity of your device. So the CD is it's not unique per device, it's per device family or per device model that you will have. And then you can have several devices in the field with the same CD. Why do I explain all of that? Is because at the commissioning process, you need all of this information to make sure that you can prove your authenticity and conformity of your device. So each Matter device needs to have the certification declaration for its model. It needs to have a unique device attestation certificate with the private key. It needs also the PI certificate with the public part of the PI certificate. And also the commissioner will get the PA certificate from the DCL, the Distributor Compliance Ledger, which is a trusted source of all the PA, but also for the models and the certified model that are put in that. And if everything is correct, so meaning that in the certification declaration, you have the vendor ID and the product ID, that is the same that in the device certificate, that is the same that in the PI, and that's this PI what's issued by a PA, that is in the DCL. So it means that your device can connect in the Matter ecosystem and then get this credential for the operation in the Matter system. So the CD is coming from CSA based on the output of the labs like Bureau Veritas. The DAC and PA come from a DAC service, as we provided Kudelski IoT. And the PAA is a certificate that is in the DCL, and we are providing also that. So it's a certificate authority. So having a high overview on the journey to build device. So at the end of the journey, the goal is really to have the DAC in your device with everything for the commissioning process. But there is several steps before that. So when you do a prototype or you develop your product, you want to have also test certificate to make sure that you understand how it's working. You can deploy that, you can develop that, and make sure that everything is working. So at this stage, you will want to have some generic certificate. Then when you are more advanced or you go to the certification, you will want to have a certificate that has your VID, vendor ID, and the product ID that you define for your product. So it's as close as possible to the production setup at the end. And then when you do the final test and you do the development, device manufacture and deployment, then you need to have the real production DAC. So you may need others asset before, and having a test environment is useful because you don't need to be CSA members when you want to do a prototype and see if Mathys is interesting for you. But when you go in production, then you need to be a member of CSA. You need to have a setup with someone that is providing the DAC with you. So there is some step before that where you can have less constraint, but you also can already have some test setup. And then CSA is also interested about product security. So there is a product security working group inside CSA. And that's also something we think you should be aware when you are developing your own products. So the first step would be maybe to have your team that is aware of what is security in the context of IoT or in context of smart home. So that could be giving them a training or a workshop where they have experience in what is IoT, what are the attacks that are the most visible attacks in IoT. And then you can have some knowledge on what is IoT security. Then the second step would be to do a threat assessment. The threat assessment is really to identify the risk that are in your use case, in your solution, and what are their potential impacts on your model, on your solution, or on your business model, on your revenue. It can be also an impact on your reputation. And the output of this threat assessment will help you to design the right security architecture, because you don't want to build Fort Knox in each of your device. You need to have the right level of security according to your use case. So the threat assessment with the design of the security architecture will help you guide that and have the right level of security in your device. And then when the solution is ready or almost ready, you will want to do some penetration tests of your backend or your cloud solution. And you will also want to have a view of your device security. So there is some device security discovery services where you give your device to friendly hackers, and they will try to break it and extract your secret and extract your firmware, and you see what they can get out of it and do a report for you. And so you have a clear view on your security standing. So that's all some of the steps you should also think while you are developing a product. Going back to the device attestation certificate, so there is two main ways to deliver them with the service like the one we are providing. Our service is named Keystream. That's what you see on the left part of the slide. You can either have pre-generated certificates with the private key. Some example use case of that is that you are building a new device in a factory. The factory is not connected, but it has the capability to get the certificate and inject them on the production line at the end of the production line. So in this case, you will want to order all of your certificates and private key before starting the production. Then we will send you in a secure folder and secure way so that your factory can get them. And at the end of the production, they can inject every certificates and private keys in the device. Another option is that you have already devices that are already in production in your customer house. And then you want to do a retrofit of the Matter spec in this device. So it means that you will do a firmware update of your device that is compliant with Matter, that was tested before. So you do the firmware update on that, and at this stage, the device will connect, authenticate on the DAC service, and will get a generated DAC and a private key. And that makes your device a part of the Matter ecosystem. So either you have a new device that's in your factory or a device that's already deployed, then there is options to get your certificates. The second big family of that is to have this online signing request. The use case is the same. You have devices that are already deployed, you do a firmware update, or it's in the factory. The main difference is in this option, the private key is already in the device. So you have a device that has already a key pair with a private key that is stored securely in the device. And then you want to use that to do a signing request against a DAC service. And it means that the private key stays in the device and it's never transiting between a service and a factory or a device. So if you have that, that's also a good option, that either the device or the device through the factory and the production line authenticate on the DAC service and get the DAC that it needs to do the onboarding later. An overview on pricing model for the DAC services that we've seen today. So based on what we do and what we see in the market, you have either a setup fee or a yearly fee. So you have different options, and then most of the time it's volume-based pricing. So the more you order DACs, the lower is the price. And then what you should look for supplier when you are looking for someone that can provide you DACs is to have an easy way to order your certificates. So if you want to get pre-generated certificates that are delivered to a factory, you really need to have something that is easy to use, and the delivery process is also clear, so that you can deliver a secure folder. It's easy for your factory to get them and inject them further in factory. You want also to make sure that the availability of the service and the duration you're assigning authority, the PI, is kept available. Can you order any time of the day? How many certificates can be generated per hour? All of this kind of information are useful for you. And then also if there is technical support, and professional services to help you do the deployment process, the secure folder setup, but also if the company can help you provision these certificates in your device securely, can provide you either services or solution to inject them securely in your devices. Then you should look at the different delivery options, as I mentioned before. What is your use case? How do you want to get your certificates in your device, in your factory? Is it a retrofit device in the field? Do they have a private key or not? Do the provider has the solution that you need? And lastly, as we've seen, security is an important part of the journey. So if the provider has device security expertise, it's very interesting for you to have a more one-stop shop experience with this kind of solution. I will conclude this presentation with what we do at Kudelski IoT and how we can help you. So first, of course, we have the DAC service, the keystream DAC service, to provide you the certificate that you need in your devices. We are a CSA-approved product attestation authority. Our solution is as a service. So you create an account on our service, and then you can request the certificates. We'll make sure with you that we have the right keys to protect everything during the transport. And then the advantage of using a solution as our DAC service is for you that the solution is ready. So if you want to do that yourself, there is some requirements from CSA. You need to make sure that you have the right hardware, you have the right knowledge. There is a certificate policy also to put in place to make sure that it's compatible with what CSA is requesting. So it can take weeks or months, and it's costly. If you use a service like ours, so it's available, and then you can control your cost because the pricing is clear on the setup fee and the price per DAC depending on your volume. But at Kudelski IoT, we do also a lot of other things. We have services to help you on the security standards and compliance. We do, as I mentioned before, the threat assessments. We have experts doing threat assessment and security designs, the security architecture for your solution, or help you design the security architecture. We have also a team of friendly hackers that will be happy to take your device and try to break at them, and give you an extensive report and explain you if they found something, what did they found, and why is it a risk for you. We work also with a chipset manufacturer. We have a secure enclave that we integrate in the chipsets of our partners to secure the keys and the secrets in their chipset. The keystream service, which is a PKI service that is used for Matter, but we also have that for other kind of certificates. We do also cloud onboarding certificate, for example, for your IoT device. And then we have solution and services to help you provision securely the certificate and the keys in your device, either at the factory or even in the field. We provide also signing service for your firmware. So if you want to make sure that the firmware is signed, again, we act as a trusted authority to sign your firmware to be the root CA, and then make sure that you have the right keys and the right device to authenticate it. And we work with some device manufacturer company to help to provide them the full FOTA management campaign. So we have as a service also the firmware campaign management, firmware update. And then the last point, we do security lifecycle monitoring and management, meaning that everything we help you put in your device, which is credential, keys, firmware, we will help you also monitor to make sure that they are not leaked, and you can also manage them in the field, meaning that certificates can be revoked, can be renewed, a key can be revoked or deleted, and the firmware can be updated in the field.